Hey everybody, it's Deuce with another Football Fundamentals coming at you here, and you see the Patriots logo in the background. But we're talking about legal and illegal pick plays, rub routes, explaining the NFL rule, because this is something that gets called kind of inconsistently from college football, the NFL, a little bit of everywhere. And it'd be tough to nail down what is actually happening in these high-speed plays, but there are definitely legal and illegal versions of this, and I want to kind of talk about it. So the game we're going to be looking at is Week 2 of the 2017 season between the New England Patriots and the New Orleans Saints. Both of these teams using pick/rub route concepts that are legal to score touchdowns, and we want to talk about why they're legal and what makes them illegal. I think that for a lot of fans, this is just one of those very vague, not real sure, it's cloudy, it's misty, you can't see through the window type deal because it's not consistently called. So what we're going to do today, and I know you're excited, we're going to read the NFL rule book. I know, who just doesn't love cracking open a rule book and taking a read? But I promise we're going to try to make it as entertaining as possible, and how can it not be when you've got my just sultry, yummy Southern voice explaining the rule book to you. But let's just go ahead and take a look at it. So this is Rule 8, Section 5, Article 2, Sub-Article, whatever you call this, E, is where we're starting off right here. Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. Legal jargon is not my thing. However, this one that we're looking at right here, E. Oh, I'm on the wrong side of the screen. I'm trying to mark on. Cutting off the path of an opponent by making contact with him, but watch the comma, without playing the ball. So the key here is you have to be making some form of receiver-type move. That's how I'm going to describe it. And that includes running a route. So from a defender's perspective, you're allowed to make contact if you're playing the ball and only the ball, not if you're playing the man to break up the ball. That's the exception. But as a receiver on the offensive side, if you're running a route, that counts as making a play on the ball. If you're running your route, and there's only a dozen of them. If you're running a post route, you run a post route. So if there's contact happening, but you're trying to make a play on the ball as a receiver, that's good. And that's where the rub concept comes into this. But let's look at another part of this rule. Let's go down a couple of articles. Here to Article 4. Other prohibited acts by the offense. And this is where the actual, illegal pick and legal pick gets thrown in there. Blocking more than 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage by an offensive player prior to a pass being thrown is offensive pass interference, and then yada yada. See, this thing out here in all the subsections and all these other sections. We're sticking to black and white. And if we want to have some NFL lawyer come down there in the comments and tell us no, it's not how it is, whatever, cool. Maybe if you know better than me, you can. But let's look at a play. This is quarter 1, 21 seconds left in the quarter. New England Patriots. And you're going to see a legal pick play where it's a block right 1 yard downfield, and it's a touchdown. Hogan's going to get to the outside because of this pick that frees up. And what happens here, and then a lot of times in the red zone, and even especially when you get close to the line of scrimmage, teams are going to play press man coverage. They're going to get the line of scrimmage. They're going to try to jam you, and they're going to try to get to you because you're enclosing the field. So you have less room to work with, which is obviously beneficial to the defense. It helps them cover, less. They have to cover less area. So here you're going to have, and we'll just mark it. So right now the ball, as you can see, is right there. It's on the 13-yard line. And let's take a note of where the block happens. Right there. That is the 12-yard line. So right there, you're talking about a legal play. And this is where we just looked at that article that said you can block within 1 yard, and that has nothing to do with the previous article we wrote. In fact, let's not even do guesswork. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so Article 4, blocking more than 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage by an offensive player prior to the pass being thrown is offensive pass interference. However, that's what's making this legal, because if you were to read just Article 2 and this E section, cutting off the path of an opponent by making contact with him without playing the ball, this would be illegal. But that article specifically allows you to run this play because it's within 1 yard, right there at the line of scrimmage. Something I also want to note is, keep in mind, I think most people are aware of this, there's a little buffer zone, a little cushion, if you will, or whatever you want to call it, where receivers and DBs can make contact with each other at the line of scrimmage and coming off of it. You've got a couple of yards there where you can make that type of a movement as long as you're making a play on the ball. Now, that's another set of rules, and we're not going to get too far into that because we'll spend all day talking about NFL rules. But as long as the pick is happening within 1 yard, as it is here, it's legal. And this makes it very difficult as a defense to defend against, because if you're running man, you're trying to stick to your guy. And if you're trying to follow, well, you're going to get taken out of the play, as happens here. And you see Marshawn Lattimore was the number 2 there, and he gets taken down. Now, Lattimore's got incredible speed, and I didn't even transition that over. So let me do that. So you see Lattimore right here gets taken out, not by being blocked, but by the fact that he tried to follow his receiver. And now Hogan is running free to the outside. Now Lattimore's got elite speed, phenomenal athlete, and he can't even catch up there. And you see the yellow hanky get thrown, but this is legal. And this goes past. And I'm glad that, out of caution, we throw that flag just to make sure, to double check. But the biggest guy in terms of the main guy who can throw this flag, and I don't know if you can see him, but you got the judge sitting right there. And he's the one watching this. He's got the best vantage point of where it is in terms of yardage and marks. So there you have it. I want to switch back real quick while I pull up this next play. And this is going to be the New Orleans Saints running a rub concept. And when you guys hear me explain it, and I've heard it explained a couple different ways by different people, when I refer to legal and illegal pick plays, I'm only talking about blocks by the receiver. Rub concepts are not blocks. Rub routes are simply routes that put defenders in conflict and make it difficult for them to match up with their receiver. The key is right here what we're talking about, Article 2, that's sub-article E, playing the ball. If a receiver's running a route, he is playing the football. And I want to show you guys an example of that here and why it's legal. And this is going to be the Saints running the scissors concept. If I can, what is it? It's at the 11:56 mark for all you boys and girls who like to tune in with us and follow along. All right, getting this pulled up. It's where the Saints almost thought they were going to have a comeback. Don't call it a comeback, because it wasn't. Transition. All right, so you're going to see the scissors concept here by New Orleans at the, 6-yard line. And this is creating a natural rub. And when I mean natural rub, I mean this is not forced, it's not a block. It's simple. You're using the fact that the defense is playing this man concept at press at the line, and you're taking it away from their advantage. And right here, you're just running. Look, it's simple. We got a slant and a flat. That's it. Slant, flat, that's all. Brandon Coleman's going to cut right there on the hip of the tight end, which that's, I believe, Kobe Fleener. That might not be Kobe. There's Kobe Fleener at the bottom of the screen, so maybe that's Josh Hill. Point being, you see him cut right underneath, and this is clean. And why is it clean? Look at the defender. The defender's allowed to do that. The defender is jamming at the line, and that actually helps the Saints here. He's jamming at the line, and Fleener's just like, what? I'm going to carry you up there. It's cool. We're running a post route. And look what happens. You got 3 people in one spot. It basically becomes a block, but the key is he's running a route. And that's how he's blocking them. He's not blocking them with actually engaging in a block. He's running a route and simply getting in the way. And that's what makes a rub route and a rub concept so effective. Because it's legal, as long as you're not blocking. See, look, he released. He's not trying to block him downfield. He's trying to get into a route. But doesn't need to block downfield. Because the rub happens naturally. And there you go, touchdown. And for those wondering what the scissors concept is, it's very simple. And we can maybe make another video about it. But it's a slant, flat, right there. And it makes a X, scissors. Yeah, simple. But there you go, legal. Now, what would have made this an illegal play? Well, if this was to be an illegal rub, let's say we get to right here, and the tight end never disengages, and he continues to block the DB up into the end zone. Then he's no longer running a route and becomes an illegal play. This goes back to what we were just talking about here in the NFL rule book. Let's swing it on back. You have to be playing the ball. So if you're cutting off the path of an opponent by making contact with him, and I realize the ball's already been thrown, so now you can block downfield once there's a receiver. But if we're talking about, I'm sorry, the ball hasn't been thrown here. It's actually still in Drew's hands. A perfect example. But if you're blocking after the catch, that's hunky-dory. We all know that's good. But right now, and I'll rotate it back now that we've seen what the rule says, for the 50th time. You look, ball still in Drew's hand. So if this changes to where this is becoming a blocking into the end zone, now that's an illegal play. But because he's running a route, and at the point, so you see Drew's release, and look, he's running a route. he's releasing. He's not holding him up. He's not got his hands in his chest. Easy breezy touchdown. Beautiful Coleman not fumbling until the end of the year. And there you have it, guys. That is a legal pick play and a legal rub route. And you can kind of infer what illegal would be based on what we've just taken a look at. So, two teams that run this very well. The Patriots run it very well. The Saints run it very well. And they know, and they rarely get called on doing it illegally because they get coached on it so well. 1 yard for a pick play. You can block. You can basically do a crack block down on the line like you saw on Hogan's CD for the New England Patriots. That's legal within 1 yard. Or a rub concept where you design patterns to intersect each other against man coverage, and then you can just use that to your advantage. Now, I will say there are ways to defend a rub route. In particular, and this is called different things. It's called banjo. It's called match, whatever you want to call it. But when you swap assignments. So let's say you've got, let me, where's something I can draw on the screen? Let me just cut this back out. I'm going to draw on the screen here, and we're just going to go back here. So if you were to swap out, this guy has this guy initially. So if you see the rub happening, you can swap off assignments, and some have called it banjo. You can call it whatever. You can just call it swapping off. I don't care. Make this happen. So if you see the rub coming, and let's fast forward a little bit, what you can do here, and this is all up to defensive coordinators and how they coach. If you see this happen right here, you swap off. So he's going to drop back, and he's going to drop back, and then that takes away the rub. And now it's no longer an effective play because now you've got a guy sitting perfectly to defend the slant, and then you have another guy sitting perfectly to defend the flat. All you got to do is swap assignments there. But it's one of those things that you have to know is coming. You have to prepare for it. Both players have to be of the same mind because we've seen this happen with the New Orleans Saints. I think it happened with the Washington Redskins game where one person passed off and the other person didn't, and you had two guys defend the same guy, and another guy, well, where went my guy? And he's in the end zone with a touchdown, wide the heck open, happened against the Redskins. And I'm not trying to throw names under the bus, but it did happen. So you have to have everybody on the same mind. But anyway, I wanted to make this video because I think it's a topic that gets talked about and yelled about and causes a lot of screaming at televisions every year. But there are blanket rules in black and white of what makes these things legal and what doesn't. And good shows are right here, good showing by the Patriots and the Saints of legal versions of their play. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, drop a like, drop a subscription. We're doing more football fundamental videos here during the offseason so you can learn more about the game and just get a little bit of football in you as we wait for the forever offseason that it seems to take to get back to football. And if you really enjoy it, think about donating to Patreon, PayPal, however you'd like to help us make more of these videos. Every little bit truly does help. For less than you can buy a box of cereal at Walmart, you can help support us monthly to make more videos. If everybody we had donated $1, we'd be able to do this full time, myself and Elias. So we're working towards that. And it's thanks to you guys' support. We'll see you on the next video. Peace out.